So welcome. Today we're gonna have international commentary with my colleagues. We are students of International Politics and Diplomacy in Nicholas Copernicus University in Toruń. Today we're gonna speak about the topic of Donald Trump, the beginning of his second term of 2025. So here I have Geofrey Lefebre, is a student of IPD. My colleague Kay-Vasco, he's also a student of IPD. I am also Akis Taratitas, I am also IPD student. And I would like you to make an introduction to our topic about Donald Trump. So after taking over the office in the early 2025, Donald Trump made some statements regarding Panama, Greenland, and Canada. He asserted that the Panama Canal should return to U.S. control, and argued that for security reasons, the ownership and governance of Greenland were essential and should be transferred to the U.S. Additionally, he suggested that Canada could become the 51st state of USA, causing international concerns and reactions. So we'll make one general question. We're going to speak with my colleagues, and then we'll have two more follow-up questions that we're going to discuss together. So the first question, it will be, how do we assess Trump's actions since the beginning of his second term of January 1st, 2025? So the floor is yours.
Yeah.
You can start.
I would just say that, of course, I guess we can all agree that it was to no surprise that Trump won the election in 2024, or by the end of 2024. And we can say that it is also not a surprise that he's trying to assert dominance, trying to maintain as this American high level of dominance, trying to maintain this global power, and also trying to maintain the American integrity, probably, and especially in terms of when you look at international tensions that have been rising with Russia, which we'll talk about probably in another sessions, and also with the tensions that we have towards China. But we can say that, especially in regard to Greenland, for me at least, I don't know about you guys, but it's not surprise because, of course, geopolitically, Greenland makes a lot of sense for the US or for Trump to asserting and to willing to pay for Greenland, or trying to station even troops in Greenland regarding the threats of Russia, I would say. And of course, Greenland also has natural resources that could be valuable for the United States in that regard. So I feel like it's no surprise. I don't know about you guys. What do you say about that regarding Greenland?
I totally agree, first of all. And second of all, to come back on your question, what I think about the first month of the second mandate of Donald Trump. Personally, I'm not that surprised by his declaration. First, because he said this kind of stuff during all the campaign, and also because he is not that far from what is the Republican tradition in this country. So the first thing that I would like to remain is that when in 1867 the United States buy Alaska, they also wanted to buy Greenland to Denmark for $100 million, which has been refused. Same in 1946, they also tried to buy Greenland, so it wasn't like something totally new, which come back from anywhere. Same for Canada in 1812, when they kicked, they kicked a bit before, but during this revolution time against British, it was also in the Manifest Destiny, this idea of somehow also include the Canada and United States. So somehow it's not that far from what was already said, was already more or less in the political mindset some years ago, and somehow we can see this comeback of this volunteer of expansion, territorial expansion of the United States. So,
but what would you say that American society would say if this would have been actually work that I would buy? Would American society just say, "Let's go, we're gonna take over Greenland, or we're gonna include Greenland"? Not.
I do not believe that. So
I would totally
society would like to, but I just say that it's not that Trump didn't come with this idea by himself. It's something that is somehow was already talked in the past years, very past years. So yeah.
And I don't know if you saw the elections. Actually, did you see the election a couple of days ago? Yesterday, I guess, or 2 days ago. The election when the majority of them just disagreed that they want to join the United States, so they refused it, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll completely agree with my colleagues. And the only element that I would add is that Panama, Greenland, and also Canada, I would say that they are crucial for US, even though that it wasn't the appropriate way of claiming some annexations of them in that way. But I think that Donald Trump just wanted to follow a path and an initiative that will show to the global political scene that I would like to be the international player as I was in the past. So before the elections, when it was Joe Biden, there wasn't so passionate, I would say, personal position or global position from US. So now he wanted to restore this dynamic position of US in the global scene. For the interest of US, all of the three places are crucial for them. But I think what shocked the international scene, and especially the countries and European Union, I would say, is the way that he did it. He was.
You mean the direct approach?
He was very direct. He was very straight, and also from the very beginning, he wanted to show to these three places, but also to the European Union, that I am here to make America to be first, as he has claimed beforehand. So I think he wanted to show from the very beginning that I am here. I'll be very dynamic for the next 4 years. So you have to take into account the dynamics of US of 2025 and not the US of Joe Biden, that he was more collaborative, I would say, with the governments of West.
And what would you say about the idea, probably when I just bring up the topic because it just came to my mind, what about the idea that since Russia is trying to occupy Ukraine, in that sense, that also the US is trying to occupy in the same way, so trying to insert dominance as Russia is trying to do, maybe in the same way that the US would do probably towards Greenland? Would you say it's like a similar approach, just the classic American way of we are the global dominance one, we are the number first, especially under Trump, you know?
I think the difference is that Putin, when he invaded in Ukraine, he did it out of sudden.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we see that Donald Trump, he made a claim in the beginning, and then he wanted to make a process. Okay. So I think the difference is that Ukraine and Russia have different background, while Donald Trump has different background. We are not prophets, but yeah. I think it will be very interesting in the next period to see how that situation will be escalated.
Yeah, but you mentioned also Russia, and it reminds me, I mean, something come to my mind right now is the fact that Donald Trump do not do anything to fight against the climatic crisis, right? And somehow the melting ice, right, in Greenland and Canada and in North Russia will create somehow a new commercial area in the future decades. And I think that Donald Trump is also planning on this new road, you know, to join Washington to Russia by boats, and all this area will fastly become, in addition of the resources, of course, natural resources, it will also be a new economic area. And I think that Trump is also planning and expecting this climatic crisis to somehow take advantage of this north part of the world. And according to Ukraine, I believe that both are looking for this natural resource, these rare resources. I think it was also one of the reasons why Putin decided to invade Ukraine at the first time. I also think that this is one of the biggest problematic in Taiwan, because Taiwan also have this kind of natural resources. So actually, I think that nowadays United States are playing for their interests, as they also did in the past. Sure. They didn't join the First and the Second World War, and somehow they betrayed their own allies, such as France and Britain. So again, I believe that this is not something new, that we don't have to be surprised. We are in the world which came just after the Cold War, and somehow the United States is coming back to what it was 1 century ago, and we can see exactly the same kind of rhetoric, the same kind of reflex from the new presidents of the United States, and not surprised at all.
So I think we can go further. Then follow-up question. So what do you think that Donald Trump follows this rhetoric, this dynamic rhetoric?
Like what exactly he's following up, or what do you mean exactly?
Why Trump, he wants to follow this dynamic rhetoric towards some specific countries, but also consequently European Union and European countries as well.
I mean, first, you always emphasize the idea of America first, as we agreed before on that. He has this kind of, just from an outside view, from a neutral perspective, this view of America first. America always goes first, and we don't care about the rest of the world. We just put, as you saw, a lot of tariffs on some countries, in order to gain more money into the economy that they can use. But it's just his personality that when he promises something that maybe differs him a little bit from the classic politicians, he, in the greater sense, maybe at least, doesn't care a lot about the public view in a sense of how he's viewed. Some politicians may be more discreet or more indirect in how they approach it, and how they say something. And it's just his way of, if he claims something, he just wants to achieve it, nonetheless of the consequences that may come occurring to just America, but also to the global world. And also in terms of partnership towards the EU, because the partnership is struggling partially a little bit, or is at least unknown. We don't know how it's going to be in the next couple of months, probably the next couple of years, how it's going to be. So I guess it's just his character.
And I think that it's also somehow a good diplomatic strategy. What I mean is that he wants to shock people, to go very far in order to make a lot of people scared of his intention, to finally say, okay, finally, guys, I take in consideration your issue, etc., and I decide to make one step back. And people are like, okay, that's the best thing that we can attempt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So actually, I think that this is on purpose, that he tried to go so far all the time in order to shock the world, in order to fear the world. And then when he said, okay, I considered to finally make one step behind, the people will be more able to accept these new terms. You know what I mean?
So kind of like a shock therapy in order to get what you want.
Making 3-step heights, people being very scared, and then making just one.
And you
back,
still achieve this.
Finally we got something from Trump, Yeah. And I think that's, actually, for now, it's very efficient. And it was also efficient during his first mandate. So, as we say in France, you don't change a team which is winning, right? So when he can have whatever he wants by this method, I think he will still use it. But we should also, us, and especially in Europe, because I see people getting so scared, etc., trying to, think a bit longer, trying to see where the manipulation is. And I think we need more time to think, to be calm, because reacting first degree, as we say, to his talks, etc. So far, I don't want to go so far. You know what I mean? So,
but I mean, it's also kind of harsh on the partnership or on the collaboration between Europe and the US and between other countries. Because you want a reliant partner towards the US, because he's still, or is the main global player that we have when he talks about security economically. There's a lot of partnership, and you want to have some reliant partner. And of course, what he said is true. It's a shock therapy and it works, but at the same time, it's hard to predict the next steps if you want to plan something, especially regarding economy. There were a couple of reports saying that the economies don't know how it's going to be, even in the US itself. It's a little bit unknown, and they have to go into recession or not, because there was some talks about it due to the unclear way that Trump is going to handle if he changes from one day to another, new politics or new tariffs towards the partners that they had.
For me, I will totally agree with your two views. That first of all, he would like to show the dynamic of US. He would like, as you said before, to restore the dynamic and the power of US in the global scene. I think he follows this rhetoric, as very correctly Geofrey said, in order to shock people, to go very far, and then just replace the order, just restore the order of what US was in the past, in order to make the same right now. I think also that's because he knows his power, he knows his potential. I think he's very aware of the fact that nobody can go against him, or even if you have to go against him, you have to make a trade war, as he's trying to do right now.
Yeah.
On the second hand, he knows his military capabilities, so he knows what he can do. So in this term, for me, he's very aware of that. He's very aware of that, and that's why he goes so far. Also, he would like to follow the path of America first, as he has proclaimed before the elections during the election campaign. So I think he would like to keep this order, to be the first player on the table and keep the last word. Always he wants to have the last word in table of negotiation, of trade, of commercial, of military, in all the aspects, in all political and military and economical and social, I would say, aspects. He would like to have the last word in the global scene as well.
And one thing also from the communication, the geopolitical communication point of view, is that the first mandate he somehow made a revolution in the geopolitical communication. What I mean is that he was using Twitter, no X, a lot, which was 10 years ago very new. And we see that 10 years later, all of our presidents, prime minister, etc. are also using now X on the same purpose. So that was the first revolution. And the second revolution that I just saw recently was this meeting with President Zelensky in the Oval Office. The fact of making diplomacy in front of the camera, you know. And I think that he made this two big revolution in the geopolitical communication. And for the good or the bad, I don't know. I don't really have opinion. I wait to see. But I believe that's something which will be applied more and more all around the world. I will not be surprised if Putin one day do the same, if Erdogan or even Macron.
What do you think about the countries? Because I know in Germany at least, some of the government organizations, they have been on Twitter or X, and they slowly remove themselves from X because they are not aligned with the politics of Elon Musk, and that's controversial.
Yeah, 100%. But they also use, for example, other platforms such as TikTok. And President Macron is often on TikTok, etc. So that's the same logic, the volunteer of speaking by himself to a young audience generally, and bypass the traditional media. So
of course, because it's catchy, for young people it's catchy,
and I believe that Trump popularized first 10 years ago these methods, and now he's popularizing maybe a new methods like the public diplomacy, speaking in front of the camera, because we all expect this kind of discussion, very harsh discussion on the private sphere, right? Hidden from the camera, but making it in front of the camera, probably it will be the second revolution in the geopolitical communication started by Trump.
I mean, you saw how much media attention has been given to the interview with Zelensky. It was huge influence or attention that the interview got, and talks about it.
I'll add also one important detail about X, as you mentioned, the fact that most of his statements are based and are posted in the platform of X, so that interaction that he would like to have with the public. And also, we do not have to forget that the most reliable partner of Donald Trump is Elon Musk. That means it's the owner of X. So basically, he's forced to use this platform to spread his information and his willings, and his wills. So I think it will be very interesting in the next period to see how that will be done further. So I think we can go in the last follow-up question. How could these policies, you think, can affect Europe, European Union, European countries, and Western, if you like, in
do you want to go first?
In more modern.
First, this new taxes. I have a joke that I just saw today, like kind of meme on the French Instagram. It was Trump is gonna tax because he was planning to tax 300% our wine and champagne, right? And people were saying, "Oh, we have to drink it more," So maybe we'll become alcoholic because of this taxes. But more seriously, I think that it will be it will really affect both of our country. I mean, mainly Germany and France, which export a lot more than the other partners of the EU. So definitely we will have to find new markets, I believe. Maybe also facilitate between ourselves, on the European market, because I want to remind that the European Union market is the biggest in the world. So maybe make some new policies in order to push the Europeans to buy more Europeans and maybe less Chinese and less United States. Somehow the car industry in Germany is very important. The energy and the alcohol production of France is also something important for our economy. So yeah, I'm very concerned. But in the other end, we are in the biggest markets in the world. So somehow I'm sure that we can find some alternative, some solution. We also have all the other strategic partner of European Union, such as India, China, Australia, Canada. So United States, it's a big buyer of our industry. That's true, but I'm sure that the European Union has the cards in hand, as they say, right? To bypass these taxes.
I mean, for me, when you just talked about China and that we should focus more on this European market in general, especially during, I don't know about France, but especially in Germany during the Corona pandemic, a lot of like pharmaceuticals that we get, antibiotics, they're coming from the Chinese market. So what Germany was trying to do is we're trying to build their own pharmaceutical companies inside Germany or enhance them a little bit further in order to produce, in terms of crisis, their own potential medical products or antibiotics that was needed during that time, because there was a lack of shortage at that time. And when we talk about America, for me, I feel like the biggest challenge is probably security. Because you want to rely on security, because America is still one of the major players when it comes to security, especially in regard to NATO. Of course, not all European member states are part of NATO, but you want a reliable partner, especially in terms of logistic, just personnel. Germany has the biggest military US personnel Europe-wide. And there's always this question that we have with France, because France was pushing a little bit forward towards the European focus-based security. So I feel like his way of doing politics from Trump is potentially affecting the security in a greater sense that we know right now. It depends a little bit on the next couple of months if we follow a little bit the French approach, or if we talk a little bit more about it, because there's more talks about this general idea of a European army, or how we can perceive or how we can protect Europe without the US protective umbrella, you can say, in a sense. So I feel like this could affect a lot in that regard.
And to give like an historical introduction, when de Gaulle has been elected, he really had this volunteer of getting independent from the US, because he was, how can I say, traumatized by the Second World War. The fact that the French government asked the help of the US and they didn't come. So later, when France took their independence back and became a great power again after the defeat of the Nazi Germany, de Gaulle really had this volunteer of making France somehow independent of the United States. And somehow what we just saw about Ukraine, the fact of being so related to the US help, is something which is very dangerous, because that's not the first time that US is betraying his ally. It was the same in Iran, it was the same in the 16th in the Suez with British and French. So that's something that very often US is able to do. And France somehow always try to get this independence, to keep a strong army, to have the nuclear power. I think that this new statement of Donald Trump can be a shock for a lot of European countries, which was really based on the pro-Atlantism. I think we must, all of us, think our defense issue 100%, also our production, because that's true that France produces, but not fast enough, to be honest. So I think there is a lot of things to do, and I'm not afraid for our future. We are a great power, so.
I mean, that's what Emmanuel Macron said in one of his interviews, that the military equipment is being produced on the European level, but not as much as it should be in terms of regarding the security. Yeah.
So I think inevitably, from my personal perspective, I think inevitably we will be affected. We will be affected in the commercial aspect, and it will be in also the military aspect, because chronically US has been one of the most reliable partners of European Union. But on the other hand, we see that this could be changed very, very quickly after just one presidency, that they would like to change their policies. So I think since that we have a lot of transactions with US and a lot of organizations that US is highly involved, I think we'll be affected. But on the other side, I totally agree with both of you that we are great powers, and I think that European Union is capable enough to find another collaboration and partnerships with Western countries mostly, like Canada, Japan, India, I would say also Mexico as well. So I think we can find some other alternatives to fight back the rules of the game that Donald Trump has placed. And as we said, we will be affected, but on the other side, we have to show the capabilities of EU and stop being fully reliable 100% on US, because this could be probably the problematic policy in a long term. So
totally agree.
So here we approach the end. Do you have any last comments?
I guess not. We talked about it a lot. Yeah.
Perfect. So thank you very much for watching us, and see you again.